everybody, it is Napalm Dawn here on the night before April Fool's Day. And for this particular video for Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux, I've got a little bit of an update for you guys on Beta 6. And I can tell you 100% truthfully that this is not an April Fool's situation. This is something that is completely true, top to bottom. So, on Saturday, a couple days before April Fool's, Goofy happened to say in the main Discord channel on Saturday morning that he needed to take a few days away because he has a short-term commission job. Bridget Rock's MIA and Lyclops are still going to be working on the coding as much as they can. Goofy said this will delay Beta 6 a bit, and they had already been slightly behind. He said he still needed to finish the intro tutorial and to fix everything that got broke while making it. So here is an explanation for what is going on with the transition from Beta 5.2 to Beta 6. The reason that there is going to be a reset in the data, this is not intentional to set up everybody back at square one. There is no competitive nature to Redux, as there's no online PvP. You're not going to be, quote unquote, keeping up with the Joneses and everything. And that's why you oftentimes see a lot of resets between alphas and then betas, or betas and final versions. The resets usually occur to kind of get somebody, or to get everybody back on the same page, and not give an advantage to people who are sitting there that had access to the beta and got a bit of a head start, maybe because the beta was region locked, so people in another region like the Pacific Rim, the Philippines, Latin America, get access to a game ahead of time and then start the game with an advantage. That happened in Marvel Avengers Alliance Tactics, when Mott was available in beta form. Was only available in certain countries, and I think even Canada was one of them. So unless you were changing your browser with the add-on called Ola to emulate a different region, if you were in the States, you had to wind up waiting. And then when the game launched, they didn't do a reset, so all the old beta players had a huge advantage over the new players. And when you had base PvP going on there, all the well-established people with good heroes and good bases and everything were able to just basically steamroll everybody in the region. That was one of the reasons why I despise the game. So with Beta 5 and Beta 6 getting the reset that they're doing, the reason why there's the reset between the two versions there is because there's been such huge code differences and updates that go into Beta 6 to make it more of a full-fledged game than Beta 5.2. You have to reset the quote-unquote keys to the kingdom. And how they're going to do that is you are going to have to go through the tutorial. None of the older saves, being Beta 5 or being Beta 4, contain the key within the structure that says you've done the tutorial, you can now proceed through the game. If you try to bring a save from Beta 4 or Beta 5 into Beta 6, you would not have the key, so it wouldn't work. That is where the delay is coming in for Beta 6, is getting that tutorial and key structure set up so that Beta 6 works properly. If you were to bring an old save from Beta 5X into Beta 6, and you had cheat mode on, and you were able to kind of jump around and essentially get through gates that are unlocked in a linear fashion, the game would break. As you know, when you did MAA when it was live, you had to go through the chapters and the missions in order. You could skip the premium ones if you didn't have that character. If you didn't have Hulk, you didn't have, I think eventually like Elektra was one of them. All the ones that are mission 6 in each chapter, you could skip those, but you had to at least 1-star everything properly linearly along the way. So Goofy would later go on to say he's about half done with the tutorial, actually with the commission, but it'll take a few days to finish, finalize everything. It's some artwork. So remember, Goofy has to have a job to make money and live and everything. And as somebody who's living with a artist, my girlfriend is an artist, and she's done commission jobs many times in the past. I know what it's like when you've got a commission and you've got deadlines and everything. So Goofy's had to put things on hold in order for the commission to pass through. Now, because of the community outreach over the years and everything, that's happened over the years, Goofy has picked up several extra coders along the way, and they've been helping. So even with Goofy having to bow out for a little bit, there are at least 3 other people who have been able to step in and continue the coding, so it's not a screeching halt like what has happened around Christmas time in some years in the past. That's not, that's not a slam on what has happened over some Christmas and winter seasons. It's just simply the truth. There have been gaps that have happened in the coding in the winters and everything. So Goofy further explains it here this morning on Sunday. Somebody said, well, out of curiosity, what do you mean by the tutorial and everything? And Goofy said, this is the mission you play once, where you recruit Iron Man and Black Widow, and also steps you into starting research. You get your first jet, etc., etc. And Skills added that it also is where you get Hawkeye. So that is the current status of Beta 6. It's being delayed slightly. I do not have an estimate for how long the delay is. I'm not going to ask. I don't want to step out of my bounds as walking that fine line between being a fan and somebody on the inside. And I don't want to add extra pressure to it and be in a way just like other people, like, well, how bad's the delay and everything. The community response in Discord has been very good. People are understanding of it. People have to live their lives, and they have to earn money and everything like that. And remember, people are doing this as a hobby. Nobody's getting paid, and this is not a Nike sweatshop in other countries where, people are just simply grinding it out. Let me take the opportunity, though, to kind of tackle several comments that have been occurring lately on some of the videos. A lot of you guys aren't seeing it because it's being deleted, because it is not fair to anybody that is involved to read some of the trashy comments that have been around lately. The sort of very arrogant comments that believe that they know better, and very impatient comments about like, oh, when are we going to see this in 25, 26, 27? It's never going to come out. That's been another one. It's never going to come out, blah, blah, blah. And there's been another underlying one of like, well, where's the progress? I haven't seen the progress over the years. I'm going to show you what Beta 2 looked like back when it was the Flash version. This is Beta 2, okay? You could see here that the allies are limited. Collect All was a cheat at the time that gave you resources. There are no jets. There is no social feed. The buttons are big white text. Fonts are kind of wrong. Like, none of this looks particularly right. You go to the store, there is no store. You go to collection, which there will be in Beta 6, that doesn't even work. Simulator does not work. There is research, but this is a blank screen, and you can't get out of it. So you actually have to leave it if you bring that up. If you recruit certain heroes and you get certain skins, you essentially crash the entire save and everybody becomes Mockingbird. There are no ISOs. The agent doesn't really have gear that you can get in game unless you are modifying the INI files and you are looking up the old weapon codes. So you'd actually have to get a text file and edit in the weapons yourself by going into the INI. Yeah, sure, you're going to see heroes available in Beta 2 that you're not going to see in Beta 6 until we proceed further and get the Season 2 content and everything. Like here you're seeing Ares and Blade. You know, it's going to be a while before they will be available, as they are not Season 1 people. But, I mean, there are no debuffs going out. There are no levels. Damage is as basic as you possibly could make it. I mean, these are all essentially level 1 starter Pokemon, basically. And I mean, that is not to down the work that was done in Beta 2. This is to show you guys the progress that has been made from these older versions until Beta 5.2, which is publicly available to you guys, Beta 5.6, which I've been doing videos on lately and doing my streams on. You get these sprinkles up there in the moves. A lot of the icons and the text aren't very clear. You know, text overwrites each other over there like that. The status bar gets a little bit wonky at times. So this is what Beta 2 looks like. Now go look at the videos that I've produced lately and compare that. We'll actually get into Beta 5.6. So compare Beta 2 to Beta 6 and tell me there isn't progress. Here's Beta 3. Beta 3 was all about the UI. This was all about leveling and getting actual working UI components over here, like testing the jets, testing the seasons for the jets. Like there's the Christmas season. Making the research screen actually work, making the store a little bit better. But then if you try to do combat in Beta 3, it's simulated. That's it. You don't have active combat. You're not picking abilities. You're not picking targets. It's all simulated because this particular beta was focused on something way different than the previous betas and alphas. This is flushing out your allies and being able to add allies as you level and get more working functionality just with the UI components. So compare all of that to Beta 6 over here, which is now no longer in Flash. It's in Unity. And compare what you saw in those two betas to this. As soon as it loads up here. I mean, Unity is a little bit more slower than Flash when you first start it, but it's infinitely more stable. Now look at this with a working social feed. And all these allies that have maps that you can go to. And you can collect from them. So when you have Spec Ops, and you have tasks to visit allies and get distress calls and get like 10 ISOs from visiting your allies, they work. If I go to a jet, I can send a person on a jet and it works. If I go to research, all of this is functional research now. I'm actually researching this focused ISO 8. When I go to my team, not everybody is Mockingbird. And I can count on this not to crash. I can change up some uniforms a little bit over here. Like there's Black Suit Spider-Man. And if I wanted to, I can go to Movie Sif or Modern Armor Sif if I wanted to. So when people you have out of combat inventory that works. You have in combat inventory that works. You're going to see me using Hulk and Thor over here because they have a good working team up. This is the Valkyrie Spec Ops. I can go over here and I can use defense and I can use that 4-leaf clover, that shamrock on my agent, which is going to bump up his stats and he's going to do more damage when he does his attacks. There has never been functional inventory until now. Buffs and debuffs are largely working properly. You can call in distress calls in combat, and they properly don't consume a turn. As a matter of fact, I'll even do it here when Thor gets done doing his buffs and everything. It takes a while. He's got a lot to do. Look, boom, Mr. Fantastic from an ally. None of the betas prior to the 5X series have had this, and it's going to be even more refined in 6. So when people sit there and say, I don't see the progress, we don't have the progress, we're not seeing it, and blah, blah, blah. You've just seen beta 2 and 3 and how functional they were compared to beta 5.6, which is basically on the doorstep of being beta 6. It is crazy to think that there has been no progress over the years in this game, and it's really insulting to everybody that works on the project. And to be honest, it's insulting upon your intelligence to insist upon that when you watch these videos and say, oh, I don't see progress. Well, then you're Mr. Magoo. Helen Keller has a better chance at seeing this progress than you do. And for the people that are sitting there holding to that first quarter thing that got said, as has been said in every video for weeks now, if not months, there was a hope that it would be the first quarter if everything worked perfectly well. As we all know, life happens sometimes. Life doesn't work perfectly. So there is going to be a little bit of a delay. To further tackle that topic, the people who say, oh, when are we going to get this 25, 20, 26, and act like a little ass goblin, and they want to pat themselves on the back for making what they think is a funny, edgy fucking comment, you just have to look at the history of the project and know that when they say versions are coming out, they come out. Have there been delays, especially in those winter times that I've talked about? Yeah, life happens. People have to take care of themselves. They have to take care of sick family. It happens from time to time. But every single time that a version was promised, whether it was 4, whether it was 5, whether it was 5.1, 5.2, it's always come out. So to doubt the project or to say, oh, it's going to be in 2025, it's going to be in 2026, and stroke yourself off to think that you've accomplished something, you haven't. It's going to happen probably within the next few weeks or month or so. We're still likely going to see beta 6 in the spring. You could see from Goofy himself, it's just a little bit of a delay. To think that we could be in the 3rd or 4th month of 2024 and that you wouldn't see beta 6 to 2025 is just literally ridiculous, and it's 7-year-old elementary school math and planning only in your brain at that point. So for the people that are working on coding the project and everything, they're still doing their best. I'm sure everybody would like to say that it could be out tomorrow, the next few days or whatever. It's unfortunate, but there is going to be a little bit of a delay. We'll hopefully get it soon. So calm yourselves down. Wait for beta 6 to come out. I'm sure it'll be out relatively soon. I don't know any dates. I don't have any time frames at this point in time. So just chill out a little bit longer. You can stop with the stupid and snide comments and patting yourselves on the back saying something that is completely ridiculous but you think is edgy and funny. It's not. Give it a little bit of time and watch the channel in the next day or so for a little bit of news on another project that I'm working on. I have gotten the go-ahead from all legal parties in this particular project to talk about it, and it will be released shortly, so hang on for that. and hang on for a beta 6. Catch you guys later.